Wait, I saw people live. Play some little PGA, you know. That was good. All right. So, answering fantasy football questions that you have, whether it be waiver wire, starting sits, whatever's up. Let's get it. While playing some PGA. Of course. Gotta do something in the... Alright, continue my Yes. So, answering any fantasy football questions that you have. Let's get it. Let's get to it. I need to pull up Claypool getting the start this week. I mean, it just depends with what goes on with Deontay and with Juju too. I think they said Juju's day today, but it just depends. I mean, if he's going to be the only Steeler wide receiver, it'll be a pretty solid starting option this upcoming week. But he, sinks it. How about them Cowboys? Yo, what's up, J4? Yeah, how about them Cowboys, huh? Cowboys did look pretty good last night. They look pretty solid. Yeah. I was pretty disappointed with James Robinson, play or bench. No, you need to play him. This upcoming week, I would absolutely play him. Julio Jones or Deandre Swift, who do I start in the flex? Deandre Swift every single week. Every single week. It don't matter. You know that Deandre Swift is currently third amongst all running backs in scoring in PPR leagues right now? He needs to be played every single week. 0-3 in fantasy, but but the Cowboys look good. That's what's up. I mean, at least there's, you know how bad it would be if your real team sucked too, and then the Cowboys sucked. That'd be a bummer. That broke a lot. Mike Davis or Emmanuel Sanders? This upcoming week, let me see here. I'm gonna go with Emmanuel Sanders on Mike Davis. Time to dump Robert Woods. No, I wouldn't dump him yet. This offense is really good. He'll be better. Zeke and Robinson for CMC and McLaurin. I'd rather have the Zeke and Robinson side personally. I needed 24 from Pollard and didn't happen, of course. Yeah, that's a lot of points. You know, that's pretty tough. But I will say Tony Pollard, I mean, that whole rushing offense, the whole rushing offense looks good. Zeke looks good. What about Calvin Ridley? Drop or keep? No, you got to keep Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley will be better. I mean, he hasn't been doing bad. This team just looks bad. Honestly, this team looks awful. Do I start Devin Singletary? Keep Devin Singletary. Keep him. And if you're over on TikTok, I'm live over on YouTube. So if I'm not able to answer your questions over on YouTube, I usually prioritize. It's not as busy. Get your questions answered. Julio, Kirk, or Boyd? Julio, Kirk, or Boyd? I'm gonna go with Julio this week, especially because AJ Brown. I don't know if AJ Brown's gonna play this week or not. They said he's week to week, so I think it's like unlikely he plays. Trade Chase Edmonds for Marvin Jones PPR. I'd rather have Chase Edmonds, Savvy, personally. I'd rather have Chase Edmonds. Oh, snuck it in. Brandy Cooks or Deandre Hopkins? I'm still going to go with Deandre Hopkins. I mean, I know it doesn't look good, but Brandon Cooks has a really tough matchup this week. I love Brandon Cooks, but this is a really tough matchup. Debo, Samuel, or Robbie Anderson and Pittman Jr. No, I would keep Debo. I'd rather keep Debo. Hubbard, or Michael, or Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell, I'm assuming. Ooh, God, that was terrible. So it depends with what happens with Elijah Mitchell. If Elijah Mitchell plays, I'm gonna play him. You know that Trey Sermon was outsnapped by Kyle Juszczyk this past weekend? They obviously don't. They don't feel good about Trey Sermon. Obviously, he was outsnapped by Kyle Juszczyk. Anybody who have #1 wide receivers facing the Cowboys better be cautious. Diggs shadowed Mike Evans and Devontae Smith shut down. Oh, okay, so he did shadow Devontae Smith last night too. Yeah. So he does look good. I mean, this Cowboys defense definitely looks a lot better this year. And of course, last year they had a bunch of injuries and stuff. So what's a good trade for CMC now that he's hurt? Like, what would be a good offer for him? It just depends. Like, it's really hard to say who exactly. I mean, I'm still not going to give up CMC for nothing, but if you're a team that really needs to win right now, then yeah, trade him. I'm still going to try to get like a top 10 running back. I feel like people still aren't valuing Deandre Swift high enough. Deandre Swift is currently RB3 in PPR leagues right now. RB3. Go out, try to get Deandre Swift. Try to get another wide receiver. I'm sure you compare both of them for a CMC. Like, people, I don't think people understand that Deandre Swift is the man. Love Swift. Yes, I've been saying it all off season. Love Deandre Swift. He's a stud. I'm so sick. Thoughts on Dalvin Cook for week 4? Hopefully he plays. I mean, I'm no doctor. I can't say if he's gonna play or not. Would you start Panthers backup? Start Panthers back up. Who why? What happened to Sam Darnold? Are you saying their backup quarterback? What do you mean by that? Who's? Oh, you're talking about Hubbard. Okay, I'm assuming you're talking about Hubbard, Kaden, right? Chubba Hubba. Yeah, I would start. I mean, it depends on your other options, but I would start him if you have to. Yeah. Boss man, should I put in Mike Williams over Amari Cooper next week? If so, should I keep him at flex? Honestly, I think Mike Williams is a must start. I mean, you can't sit Mike Williams right now. He's just playing. This offense looks way too good. He's playing really well. You got to start him every single week from now on. Oh, okay, yeah, Chubby. Yeah, I call him Chubba Hubba. But yeah, I would play him. I mean, it just depends on who you're talking about or who you're starting him over. Like, who are your other options? How's 2K? I mean, I like 2K. I had to lower like the graphics for 2K. Like, the graphics are much better, but my PC can't stream on YouTube and run this game at the same time. It gets way too laggy. But I do like it. I mean, I don't really play video games a whole lot, and this game's really easy to just stop playing and look at chat. So it is kind of, I won't lie, it's like a little bit boring when you play it a lot. I just think all kind of like sports games are a little bit personally, but I mean, it's a decent game. And how are you on, and are you on PS5? If so, what's your, no, I'm not on PS5. Right now I'm on PC and I have Xbox, but I usually just play on PC because it's the best. The graphics are the best. Yo, I start New Orleans defense or pick up Tampa Bay's. Tampa Bay. So what I would do this week, I do like, I'm pretty sure. Let me see here. I would start New Orleans defense this week. And if J4, if you're, I don't know what the price is right now for the golf for 2K or PGA. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I would pay like full retail for it. It's an okay game. CMC and Julio for Mixon, Devontae. I would take the Mixon and Devontae side. Yeah, that's a W for me. What defense you like this week? I like the Saints defense this week. I do like Tampa Bay's defense. Like, I'm not a huge believer in the Patriots offense as a whole. So I like the what defense did I just say? The Saints defense. They're like probably my favorite defense this upcoming week. And then I like the Bears defense this upcoming week. And obviously the Bills. I love the Bills this upcoming week. Trey Gronk for Jamal Williams and Dallas Goedert PPR. I mean, I'd probably want Gronk, but I do think Jamal Williams has solid value like week to week. If you need if you're desperate for running back help. I feel like you could get something better though. I've got Cordell Patterson, Saquon, and Myles Gaskin, so I want to start Saquon, and yeah, I would do that. That's fine, Caden. I would do that. Thoughts on Robert Woods' outlook for the rest of the season? I think Robert Woods, honestly, is going to be okay. I know that it has been great, and it's been really frustrating if you have Robert Woods because you're probably, debating between Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, and now you have Cooper Kupp, who's wide receiver 1 right now. So it's a little frustrating, but I would just keep Robert Woods for now. I mean, his trade value is super low. I wouldn't drop him. This offense looks really good, so. Trade Woods and Mike Davis for Amari. Now that I would probably do, yeah. Pick 3, PPR, Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Brandon Cooks, Mike Williams, or Robert Woods. I would go Diggs, Calvin Ridley, Mike Williams this week. Zeke, Saquon, and Swift. Start 2 of them. Ooh, boy. Oh my gosh, that is brutal. Just 2 of them? I hate to say sit, honestly, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say sit Saquon. I'm going to go Zeke and Swift this week. I feel like any defense that plays the Jets will be tread. Well, they should. But this week, okay, the Tennessee's defense is not very good. And Tennessee really struggles to get pressure on the quarterback. So I just don't and their secondary is awful. So I know that they should shred, but the Jets, okay, let's look at who the Jets have played so far. The Jets have played Carolina, with their defense right now.
Only Nature's Bounty does. Immune 24-hour plus has longer lasting vitamin C.
There we go. So the Jets have played the Broncos, okay, one of the better defenses in the NFL. They played Carolina, one of the better defenses of the NFL, and then they played New England, who just Bill Belichick has a track record. Last year, if you look at what he did to Justin Herbert, and that was, out there at home, they did that. Well, Justin Herbert was home. Los Angeles Chargers were home. So they were home in that game too, and he absolutely crushed Justin Herbert. So, the Jets, yes, they don't look that great, but they've had 3 really tough games so far to start the season. 3 really tough games. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Edwards-Helaire and Chris Godwin for Joe Mixon, Lamar Chase. I received Chris Godwin, Edwards-Helaire. Should I do it? I would want the other side, to be honest with you. Joe Mixon and Chase. I'd rather have that side. Can you flex one? What is that? What are you saying, J4? Can you flex one what? Time to drop Phillip Lindsay? Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think he should be rostered. Yeah. Is Kyler a good start this week? Kyler's a good start every single week. PPR, I have D-Hop, DK, Up, and McLaurin. I have to sit one. Who is it? Let me see here. That's really tough. I mean, I'm definitely starting Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's an absolute must-start every single week now. You got to start him over a lot of other guys that you probably invested high into. This week I'm starting McLaurin. I know it was a bad week this past week, but I'm starting McLaurin this week. I think this offense is going to bounce back. And who are the other options? DK and DeAndre Hopkins, was that it? Yeah, DK and DeAndre Hopkins. And my gosh, that's just so tough. Honestly, I'd probably sit McLaurin again. I hate to say it, but I can't sit DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm gonna sit DeAndre Hopkins. Out of all of them, I would sit DeAndre Hopkins. The was in reference to the guy who has Zeke Swift. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, got you. Got you. Yeah, can you flex one of them? That's true. Like, who are you starting over those guys? Because those are really solid guys. And if you haven't already, do me a big favor, smash the like button. Also, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Make sure you hit follow if you're over on TikTok. Over on YouTube, be able to answer your questions a little bit faster. All right, so I'm going to fly through some of these questions right now. Should I trade D-Hop for Gibson and Corey Davis? My running backs are CMC, JT, and Javonte Williams. Yeah, if you need a running back, I would do that. Hey, bro, love the stream. Would you trade... Thank you. Appreciate it. Would you trade Josh Jacobs and Jacoby Myers for Jonathan Taylor? Yeah, I would. I would probably do that. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to be okay. Honestly, I don't think it's... Because Jacoby Myers is okay. Like, Josh Jacobs is like... I don't know. He's for me, an outside top 20 kind of guy. I'm leaning towards Saints defense to start this week. But I also like the Bucks. Like you said, those were two I've been debating on all morning. Personally, I would just stick with the... If you already have the Saints rostered, I would go with the Saints. I would go with the Saints, personally. Yeah, and J4, that is cool. I would sit... Honestly, out of all those guys, I would sit Saquon. He has a brutal matchup this week. Drop Lindsey for Latavius Murray. Boo, I would do that. Yes, I would. A-Rob and Sony Michel for A.J. Brown and Cordell Patterson. Yeah, I would do that. I would do that trade. Do we give up on Brandon Ayuk? No, absolutely not. He had a better week this week. Keep Brandon Ayuk. He had a better week. Brandon Ayuk has slowly just been trending up. He'll get there. Keep Brandon Ayuk. What are some tough decisions you are facing this week as far as who you're starting? So for me personally, honestly, I don't really have that many tough decisions. I guess really it's not really even a tough decision for me. It's like Brandon Cooks or Corey Davis. I'm honestly going Corey Davis this week. I don't like Brandon Cooks this week just because it's a really tough matchup in Buffalo. I really think Houston's going to struggle a lot in this game. But I don't really have that many tough decisions, to be honest with you. My teams are pretty solid. And I know who I'm starting every single week. Should I drop... If I didn't answer your question over on YouTube, please feel free to ask it again. Ask your question again. I'm just going to start from the bottom because there's a lot of questions coming in. So I'm going to start from the bottom. Thoughts on Allen Robinson? Is it time to panic? No, not yet. If he doesn't do well this week, then it's time to panic. I have Keenan Allen, but I peeped waivers and Mike Williams is there. What? Mike Williams? Yes, go out and get Mike Williams, 100%. DK and Edmonds for Deandre Swift and Marquise Brown. Honestly, I would keep DK and Edmonds, personally. I think pretty soon here, I don't think it's going to be this week. I think it's going to be next week. You're going to have Rashad Bateman come back. And when Rashad Bateman comes back, I think the value for Hollywood Brown's going to drop. Should I give up Gibson and Ayuk for CMC? Like, if you're in a good spot and you're winning games like 3-0 right now, I would do that. What about Tennessee's defense? I don't like Tennessee. I know that they play the Jets, but, like, here's the thing with the Jets. They played Denver, okay? Denver actually has a legitimate defense this year. Carolina, towards the end of the season last year, they were looking really good. And so far this season, they look really good as well. So they faced two really tough defenses, and then New England, who Bill Belichick beats up on rookie quarterbacks. So the Jets have had a brutal, brutal schedule to start the season. I think Tennessee's defense is awful. There's no way I'm playing them any week. I don't care if they're playing the Jets. I'm not playing them. Yeah, that's a steal if he's on waivers. Should I trade Lockett and CEH for Zeke and Juju? I think Lockett is going to fall off. That's tough. I'd probably do that because I love Zeke. I love Zeke. Will Dalvin Cook be healthy again this week? Hopefully. I'm not a doctor. I can't really speak to it. I mean, I hope he's okay. I think that the fact that he was doubtful, that's good for him. So I think he should be okay. Drop Melvin Gordon for Zach Moss. I know Zach Moss has been pretty good, but he's just been scoring touchdowns. So I guess I probably want to drop. I don't know. That's tough. I feel like they're just basically the same player. So, like, if you want Zach Moss, go ahead and get him. But I guess so. I guess I would because the offense for Buffalo's better. So I guess I would go Zach Moss. And if anything happens to Devin Singletary, like, obviously he's in a really good spot. Do you think Bengals D is a sneaky good play this week? No, I wouldn't play the Bengals defense, honestly. DJ Moore or Amari Cooper. For me, I'm going to go with... I'm still going to go with Amari, but it's close. I love DJ Moore. I've loved them all offseason. Would you trade Gibson, A-Rob, and Logan Thomas for Hopkins, Kittle, and Jacobs? Yeah, I would do that trade. Berkey, I would do that trade. Start 2 out of 3. We got Amari Cooper, Dr. Tyler. Hey, you know what's up, Dr. Tyler. Yeah, I'm not a doctor, so if you have like, is this guy gonna play this week because he was injured? Like, the best thing to do is go check out the fantasy doctors, man. They're really good. They know their stuff. They'll help you out. They'll tell you how long the player is going to be out for. And me personally, I can't speak to that. I'm going to drop Keenan Allen or trade him and pick up. I wouldn't drop him. I would try to trade him, Colty. Should I trade Cooper Kupp and Tyson Williams for Kamara and Robert Woods? RBs are Saquon, Tyson, Jamal Williams. Wide receivers are Terry. Yeah, so you're pretty stacked on wide receiver. I would do that trade, yeah. Because I think Robert Woods is going to come back a little bit. I'm not totally panicking on him yet. Trade Najee, Amari, Mike Williams for Edmonds, Sutton, Keenan Allen, and McCaffrey. Do you think I won? Sorry, my feed froze if you already answered. I think it's a pretty decent trade. I probably would rather have. I guess it depends on what's. I'd rather have the Najee side. I don't know if you got that side, but that's the side I'd rather have. Just offered CeeDee Lamb, Melvin Gordon, and Antonio Gibson for DK. Huh? All for DK? I'd rather have the Antonio Gibson side and CeeDee Lamb side. If that's the side, yes. Take that. Start 2. Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Debo Samuels, DeAndre Hopkins. For me, I'm still going to go with Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, and honestly, I'm going to go with Debo this week. I really don't like... watch, he's going to have a really good game this week as Hopkins. Kareem Hunt or Devin. I would go Kareem Hunt over Devin Singletary personally. And if you haven't already, do me a big favor, smash that like button. Really appreciate it. Helps out the channel. And if you haven't already subscribed, follow. Really appreciate everybody. And if you're over on TikTok, answering questions over here at YouTube. Christian Kirk, Waddle, or Marvin Jones? I would go Marvin Jones this week. My first year in fantasy, should I get the Saints defense? Yes, I would pick up the Saints defense this week. I like them. Start Sanders, Mike Davis, or Javonte Williams. For me, Sanders still. Start 2 out of 3. No, I got that one. Josh Gordon, worth a pickup? I think he's worth a pickup. I wouldn't spend a waiver wire claim on him, but if he passes through waivers like he's still a free agent, I would pick him up at the end of my bench. I would. Like if it... Because Kansas City needs a wide receiver too, so he could possibly be the wide receiver too. Now, is he going to be anywhere near what he used to be? No, but they do need a wide receiver too. Last week I traded Najee and Henderson for Kupp and Saquon. Winner W. I think it's a pretty fair trade, especially if you needed wide receiver help. I mean, Cooper Kupp's wide receiver 1 right now in fantasy football. Drop Cardinals to D to stream Packers this week. Yes, I would. I'm a Steelers fan, okay? I'm a Steelers fan, and the Steelers offense is absolutely horrible. Drop Cardinals, D. Oh, no, I got that one. What do you think Marquise Brown has a bounce back? Does he have a bounce back? No, I think he's going to struggle again this week. I think the whole Ravens offense is going to struggle this week, personally. CEH or Hubbard? I'm still going to go with CEH, personally. I really, like, if you have Chuba, if you picked him up, I would play him. But I do think that Dallas's defense is pretty legit, to be honest with you. Drop Mecole Hardman for Josh Gordon. Honestly, I probably would do that. Mecole Hardman hasn't really done a whole lot. Drop Daniel Jones and pick up Tannehill off of waivers. Yes, I would do that. Need a quarterback to stream for this week. I guess it depends on who's available, but somebody who should probably be available. I do like Taylor Heineke. He's put up 2 solid weeks in a row. Like, I know that Washington was bad last week, but he still had a decent week in fantasy, and he gets Atlanta this upcoming week. I'm pretty sure, right? They play Atlanta? Yeah, they play Atlanta, so I think he's a solid streaming option this week. Thanks for the help. No problem. And if you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button and hit follow. Look, there's 20 people over on YouTube right now, but I only have 6 likes. What's up with that, guys? Smash that like button, please, and thank you. And hit subscribe. Oh, we got Michael Ryan. What's up, Michael? Thoughts on Woods? Thinking of packaging a deal to try and get Mike Williams instead. Yeah, I mean, if it depends on who you're trading, but if you want to package Woods in there to get Mike Williams, I would do that, yes. I traded Hawkinson and Julio for Waller and Golladay. I think that's a solid trade, especially with you had Darius Slayton and Shepard lead this game, so Golladay could be the only healthy guy left. I traded Odell and Gibson for Godwin and Henderson. Good trade or not? I think that's a pretty good trade. I think it's honestly pretty even for both sides, to be honest with you. Thielen versus Browns or Antonio Gibson's at Atlanta. For me personally, I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson this week. I like Antonio Gibson this week. I just picked up Mike Williams. I mean, that's dirty. How is he available right now? That's crazy. I'm 3-0, so I think I'm going to trade Keenan Allen something else for it. Yeah, that's a good idea, Colty. Diggs or Chase? This upcoming week, I'm going with Stephon Diggs. Should I trade Brandon Cooks and Trey Sermon for DJ Chark and Robbie Anderson? I mean, I would want the Brandon Cooks side, 100%. Need a quarterback this week, Kyler Murray or Matthew Stafford. I want to say Stafford. Like, I do want to say Stafford, but I can't advise to sitting Kyler. He's still my quarterback one. So I would still go Kyler. But if you're close about it and you really want to go Stafford, go for it. I mean, Stafford's look great. This whole offense has looked great. Thoughts on Logan Thomas? Hey, tight end's brutal. Logan Thomas is a viable option every single week. Hunt, J-Rob, Najee, Kareem. Bench one out of all of them? Oh, that's tough too. Honestly, I would probably bench Hunt. I know he had a really solid week, but I think he did have like 16 touches, but I don't know. I would bench him out of all those options. Who would be a good tight end to trade Dalen for? He's my wide receiver 3. I have Tunyon at tight end. Personally, I probably wouldn't trade for a tight end. I don't think a whole lot of people are going to try to trade or are going to give up a tight end right now. What I would do is, if you need tight end help, there's one guy I would definitely try to add this week. I wouldn't put in a waiver wire claim for him. I would pick him up. Chances are nobody's going to put in a claim for him. And that's going to be Dan Arnold. He just got traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You have James O'Shaughnessy. He was actually looking decent, and then he got hurt. He was seeing a decent amount of work in that offense, was playing all the snaps. Dan Arnold is actually a pretty solid athlete, is a good athlete for the tight end position. I imagine he's going to step right in there, be their tight end one this upcoming week, and he's going to be a viable fantasy option, I believe, for the rest of the season. So if you're like absolutely desperate, I think he's somebody that you should pick up. Goff is the weakest link. Yeah, I mean, Stafford looks amazing in this offense. It looks good. Trade Swift for Gaskins and Odell. I would want Swift, 100%. Need a flex, Chase Edmonds or Marvin Jones. For me, I'm honestly going to go with Marvin Jones this week. I like Marvin Jones a lot this week, and he's the wide receiver one of this offense. Should I trade Ridley? He's not bad at all, but the Falcons offense can't produce. I would keep him, but if you can get a really good trade for him, I mean, go for it. Odell and James Robinson for Keenan Allen, Devontae Smith. I want the James Robinson side personally. I love James Robinson. He was a guy I might trade for by low. I love James Robinson. Thank you for that answer. Darnold, that's a fire tip. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, no problem. Dan Arnold, I really do think he's going to be viable this year in fantasy football. Because, number one, this Jacksonville's defense is horrible. They are awful. So they got to throw a lot. They're going to have to throw all the time. Will Fuller against Indy or run Cooks? I would still run Cooks out because he's at least seeing a bunch of work. And really, I didn't think he'd do that well last week, and he still put up over 100 yards. So, I mean, he's really the only guy, so I would still play him over Will Fuller. Should I trade CEH and Chase for Montgomery? I'd want, for me, the CEH side and Chase. My boy traded Swift for Odell and Gaskin. Can you say he got fleeced? I'm recording. Yeah, I would say that. I'd much rather have Swift. Here's the thing, is that people don't understand how good Deandre Swift has been. Deandre Swift, and your boy here, I know a lot of people that, are the OGs. J4 can attest to this, and anybody else that's in chat right now that's an OG. I've been very big on Swift all offseason, and Swift right now is RB3. RB3 in your PPR leagues, okay? RB3. He's a stud. He's seeing that. Well, now you have Najee, who literally just saw 19 targets in 1 week. But prior to that, he was leading the RB position in targets. So, trade Gronk for Swift. I would want Swift. I traded Odell, and I'm worried, not gonna lie, because I feel like Odell looked really good. I was watching that game. I mean, jeez, Justin Fields got absolutely smashed every single play, but Odell looked really good. I thought he looked really good. Yo, what's up, man? Thank you for your great advice. Everyone in my league has been trying to get Swift off of me. Now, keep Swift. He's amazing. As long, and I'm going to put a disclaimer in here because I feel like I always have to. As long as Deandre Swift doesn't get hurt, he should be a top 10 fantasy option for the rest of the season. As long as he doesn't get hurt. Got to put in the disclaimer. Let me see. Odell, Cooks, or A.J. Brown for rest of the season. Odell, Cooks, or A.J. Brown. Ah, gosh. I'm still going to go with A.J. Brown. I know he's hurt, but I'm still going to go with I'm still gonna go with A.J. Brown here. I cannot say not A.J. Brown. He was a top. I mean, he was almost. No, I think I had him at wide receiver wide receiver 7, because I had him behind Justin Jefferson coming into the season. But Kirk or Tyler or Burrow this week. I would go Kirk this week. Honestly, out of all those options, I would go Kirk. Upgrade RB2 or keep Clyde. I would just keep Clyde. I mean, it depends on what you can get. Obviously, if you can try to get like an upgrade, I would try to get an upgrade, especially because Clyde had a pretty solid week. I think that the Chargers are going to be like a run. They're going to be easy to run on this year. The Chargers will, but they're going to be extremely tough to pass on. So I think you play your running backs against the Chargers this upcoming season. Should I trade Jonathan Taylor? I mean, I would try to, but I don't think you're going to get like what you invested into him, so it's going to be really tough to trade him. Trade Diggs and Evans for Jamar Chase and A.J. Brown. I would want the Diggs side right now, personally. Traded Keenan Allen and Mark Andrews for A.J. Brown and Chris Carson. I already have Gronk. Good trade. Traded Keenan. Yeah, I think that's a solid trade. Yeah, I like that trade, Raul. Trade Woods for A.J. Brown. I would want A.J. Brown, yeah. I would want A.J. Brown. Tyler has been consistently high on Swift, and he's been producing, possibly exceeding expectations. Yes, Jade Ford knows. I've been touting up Swift all season. Now, hopefully it continues, but I think he will, honestly. This team's bad. Anthony, like the biggest thing why I like Swift is you had Anthony Lynn go here, the offense coordinator. Anthony Lynn, and I said this, Anthony Lynn over the past 3 years in Los Angeles, his running backs have seen a 26% target share. 26% target share. Keep up the stream, peep, on my questions too. Hey, what's up, Matt? Appreciate the $1. You're the man. You're the man. Hey, Matt, what was your question? Did I answer your question? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I see your question there. I'll get your question. I won as the vampire in a vampire league, so I get to steal someone for what? It's a vampire league. What? So you get to steal someone from the other team? What? I didn't know those kind of leagues existed. That's very interesting. So it's a vampire league. In a vampire league, I get to steal someone from the other team. Okay, so if you beat them, you get to steal one of their players. That's very interesting. So should I take Mahomes, Dalvin, or DK? Well, I guess because you want to win. It's hard to say who exactly. Like, if you need an upgrade at one of the positions, I think all of them are viable. This upcoming week, though, I would probably go with Dalvin, but does he play? Is it going to be the question? Do you need to know this right now? Like, when are you able to do that, Matt? Like, does it have to happen now? Or do you have, like, how long do you have to decide between this? Because if you can wait till later in the week, I would take Dalvin if he plays. But if you need to know right now, maybe there's a chance Dalvin doesn't play, and honestly, I would go with DK. Unless you need a big upgrade at the quarterback position, I think, Patrick Mahomes, he should have a big bounce back week this week. But I would possibly go with DK if you have to know right now. What will be the best trade for Kupp? I mean, it's really tough. I wouldn't give up Kupp in my opinion. But okay, you're gonna try to hold off. Yeah, so that's what I would do, Matt. Just hold off as long as you can, and I would go with Dalvin personally, as long as he's gonna play, and as long as you're able to hold off for it, keep doing that. That's what I would do personally. Otherwise, I would go with DK unless you really are struggling at quarterback and really need somebody. Then I would go obviously Patrick Mahomes. I think he should have a really solid bounce back week. What will be the best trade for Kupp? I mean, it depends, but I really want to trade Cooper Kupp right now. I'll just keep him. Herbert or Stafford this week? Herbie or Stafford? Ooh, that's gonna be tough. I'm going to say Herbert, okay? Or I'm going to go with Stafford. He's just playing way too well right now, and I think that game's probably going to be the highest scoring game of the weekend. Now that Josh, and if I didn't answer your questions, please feel free to ask him again. There is Super Chat. You could also join, become a member of the Aspire Sports Show. As low as, I think the lowest membership right now is $2.99, but you get priority, you get a little symbol. I'll jump to your question first. But if not, just keep asking. Make sure you hit that like button. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. I'm going to try to get through everybody's questions as fast as possible, okay? So I'm going to fire through some questions here. All right, let's get it. So Hollywood and Sermon for Chuba. Hey man, PPR, I have CMC. I probably would do that. Yeah, I would get Chuba if you need a running back this week. Trade Diggs and Carson's for Zeke and Lamb. Absolutely, I would do that trade. I want Zeke and Lamb. Now that Josh Gordon is in Missouri, should I try and get rid of Tyreek? I have Cup. No, I don't think Josh Gordon's any threat to Tyreek personally. I want to try to get, like, I would say always try to do a trade if you can get a trade done. Like, always try to win. But I want to trade him just because Josh Gordon's there. Should I snag Swift for Jamar Chase and Clyde? I would get Swift, yes, personally. I would do that. Hertz or Herbert? Hertz or Herbert? That's a good question, actually. Let me double check. I would honestly go with Herbie this week. I really like Herbert this week on Monday night. I think that's going to be a really high-scoring game as well. It's going to be a really good game. Keenan Allen and Chris Carson for Cup. I personally want the Chris Carson side, but if you have, good options, go with it. And we got a $5 donation. Hey, appreciate you. DMH09, hey, what's good? Thank you. Traded Kyler, Hopkins, and Antonio Brown and Fant for Herbert, Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Hawkinson, and standard scoring. Thoughts? So you traded those guys. I like that trade. I like that trade a lot, to be honest with you. I mean, you're giving up the stack of Hopkins and Kyler, which obviously isn't the best. But then you're getting Ridley and Deontay, two really good options over AB. I love Hawkinson over Fant. I think that Herbert from Kyler isn't that big of a drop-off, to be honest with you. And then, like I said, you get Ridley and Deontay on top of that. Like, I like that trade. I think that I do think that you win that trade. I think it's honestly pretty decent for both sides, but I like your side. If you're getting the Herbert side, I like that side more personally. And thank you for the donation. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like. Appreciate every single one of you. Jacoby Myers or Wolfe Fuller for rest of the season. I'm honestly going to go with... I'm going to go... That's tough. Those are two guys that are like right around each other for me. Right now, it's tough to go with not go with Jacoby Myers. He's seeing this past weekend. He saw 14 targets. He's seeing a lot, just isn't scoring. That will probably come, but honestly, I'd probably go with Jacoby Myers. It is really close because here's the thing with Wolfe Fuller: does he actually stay healthy? Does he actually stay healthy? You know what I mean? So personally, I would go with Jacoby Myers. I'm 0-3 in a 12-team league. We got J4. I'm 0-3 in a 12-team league. Should I be panicking? Is it too early? No, I think it's. Okay, you don't want to start 0-3, but here's the thing, is that you do get an extra game this season. Okay, we have an extra game, so there's still some time, but what you need to do now is keep playing the waivers, and then you need to start making trades. Unless you just, have been really getting unlucky, but if you're one of the lower scoring teams in your league right now, it's time to make trades. It's after 3 weeks. You don't want to fully panic, but it's after 3 weeks. If you're one of the lowest scoring teams in your league right now, you got to make moves. Got to make moves. Get off some of the guys that just aren't producing right now. Try to get some other guys. You got to try to make moves. I thought I read his question, didn't I? In Super Chat? Yeah, I thought I did. Yeah, no problem. Hopkins. Yeah, and to be honest with you, it is a little concerning right now for DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going to lie. Like, I think DeAndre Hopkins bounces back, but it is like a tiny bit concerning. But hey, I just literally said that last week about Josh Allen, about how just like his numbers weren't near where he was producing last year, and look what he did this past weekend. Now, I did say, he's played 2 tough defenses to start the season. He's probably going to bounce back, but there's a little bit of concern there for Josh Allen. So watch. I'm going to say the same thing about, DeAndre Hopkins, and watch, he's going to absolutely go out and ball in a game that he shouldn't. Oh, sorry, Tyler. No, you're good, Jake Ford. Hey, I just wanted to make sure that I did answer his question, because I would hate to leave somebody that relieves a super chat and then I don't answer their question. So thank you for pointing it out. So I was second guessing myself, but I appreciate, you being on top of chat, J4. Appreciate you. What should I do with Allen Robinson and AJ Brown? I mean, I would keep them. If you can try to trade one of them, I certainly would. I would try to trade AJ Brown because he's banged up. I think Allen Robinson will bounce back, especially this week. But yeah. Any news on AJ Brown? He's week to week. I really don't think he plays this week, to be honest with you. I don't think he plays this week, but could he certainly, practice and end up playing? Certainly. I'm no doctor. Once again, I'm no doctor. I just think that with the week to week thing, I don't think he's likely to play, to be honest with you. I miss you reading this response. I'm working remotely from home. Oh, yeah, no problem, dude. I appreciate you pulling up the stream while you're working, J4. I appreciate you, my guy. Should I trade Woods for AJ Brown now or next week? So you're getting I would wait one more week. I think I'm gonna hold off on. Let me check real quick. That's tough because AJ Brown's value will probably be super low this week. I probably would give it one more week, honestly. Will Michael Thomas be good when he returns? I think he should be, but the fantasy doctor and the pro football doc both said that it's likely to be like week 10 until he really gets back into form. So you might have to wait a little bit. Thoughts on Conklin? I like Conklin. I talked about Conklin this prior to heading into the season, and then also he's in my waiver wire video. I talked about him. He's playing like all the snaps right now for this offense. It's an offense that's pretty good as well. And this past weekend, he was leading all tight ends at scoring, but got passed by Dalton Schultz. So I think he's a solid guy because here's the thing with Conklin too. Like I said, he's playing all the snaps, so that's really good. And you want your tight end to do that. Like with a guy like in the beginning of the season, you have a guy like Juwan Johnson, right? That scores that touchdown, yet he plays no snaps. So that's good for Conklin. But the guy that I'm really keeping my eye on right now, because Conklin's nowhere near the athlete that Dan Arnold is Dan Arnold. That's the guy that I'm really keeping my eye on right now. Brandon Cooks and Joe Mixon for Justin Jefferson and Jamal Williams. Should I take it? I have Jefferson. If you're getting Brandon Cooks and Joe Mixon, I would take that side. Yeah, I would want that side. How do you feel about Ayuk after this week? I like Ayuk. I think Ayuk, like a lot of people have asked me this question too with Ayuk. Like, should I drop Ayuk? So if a lot of people are thinking like, should I drop Ayuk? I think this is a great opportunity for you to still buy into Ayuk. Every single week, he's progressively have gotten better. This past week, yeah, the targets weren't totally there. The receptions weren't totally there, but he did score a touchdown. But still, he's getting better each and every single week. And they said earlier in the season he was bothered by, I believe, a hamstring issue. So it looks like it's getting better. He's getting better. And I think that pretty soon here, we're probably going to see Trey Lance. I mean, at least we should see Trey Lance. And in the offseason, apparently those two had a really good connection. So I think that's good for Ayuk. And personally, I would try to buy into Ayuk right now. Will Kupp, Jamar Chase, and Mike Williams consistently put up top-tier numbers for the rest of the season? So out of all of them, there's one guy that I'm going to try to trade, and that's going to be Jamar Chase. Because here's the thing with Jamar Chase. I love Jamar Chase as a talent. I think he's incredibly talented. But Jamar Chase right now is a top-tier wide receiver, but he has 4 touchdowns on 11 receptions. Okay, that's not sustainable. He's just not seeing the workload right now to keep putting up top-tier numbers where the other guys are. The other guys are seeing a large target share, a lot of air yards, but Justin Jefferson just isn't. And he had 2 touchdowns this past weekend without T. Higgins there. So if there's one guy I'm trading high on, it's going to be, personally for me, Jamar Chase. If you're able to, though. Cortland Sutton has a good game against Ravens this weekend. I think he'll bounce back. They just really didn't need him at all. I mean, the Jets were terrible this past weekend. So I think Cortland Sutton will be a big part of the offense in games that are going to be close, which that game should be good. Would you be worried about Cooper not getting the targets and his bruised ribs? I'm not that worried about Cooper right now. No, personally, I'm not. It does look like CD is though the alpha wide receiver there, but I think Cooper will be better. But if you can try to get Cooper off of your hands, I would try to do that. Just depends on who for. I have Aaron Jones and Swift starting with Melvin Gordon on the bench. Someone sent me a trade, Julio Jones for Gordon. Should I accept that? I should accept that, right? I would do that, yeah. Especially with AJ Brown hurt right now, I would do that. I got offered a trade. I lose CMC and Kittle, receive Kamara and Kelsey. 100% go accept that. Yes, I would do that. Thoughts on Kittle moving forward? I like Kittle. And this is, you know, a lot of people ask me this question is like, what to do with Kittle? They were asking me this past week prior to this game. And what I said to them is they paid Kittle way too much money to just do nothing. They need to get him more involved. He was the big reason why San Francisco should have won that game at the end of the game. But Aaron Rodgers is a freak. So George Kittle, he'll be better going forward. Like, keep him. He's a stud. Like, he's tested. His workout metrics are absolutely off the chart. The dude is a freak of nature. They just need to get him the ball, and they'll get him the ball going forward. I love Kittle going forward. Would you trade Antonio Brown for Ayuk? I would, because personally, I don't like Antonio Brown. I don't like Antonio Brown. I'll say it, like I haven't been a big fan of AB. I know he had that really big week 1, but if you look at it, he still saw the same amount of targets that Mike Evans did. Just one of them was a really long touchdown. Yes, prior to that, he still looked good. But in my opinion, he's going to be the odd man out more times than not in this offense. So, and I think Ayuk, young, Debo struggles to stay healthy. I like Ayuk. And when Trey Lance takes over. Come on. Give us Trey Lance. Give us Trey Lance. We've already seen Jimmy Garoppolo. Give me Trey Lance. Who would you drop for Chuba? Michael Carter, LaVisca, Brian Edwards. Personally, I would go with LaVisca over all of them. Should I try to trade away Mike Davis, or does he have hope for this season? I would try to trade him away, but I don't think you're going to get much for him. But I would try to trade him away. But he's seeing, work right now, and that's good. So the problem is they don't even pass him the ball. Who's that? Kittle? Yeah, I think they will going forward. I just think he's way too talented. I just received a trade offer, Michael Thomas for Allen Robinson and Josh Gordon. I would be receiving, and for, yeah, I would do that for Robinson and Gordon. Absolutely, I would do that trade. J4. And if you haven't already, make sure you do me a big favor, smash that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate you. And if you're over on TikTok, we're live over on YouTube right now. Started Corey Davis or Brandon Cooks this week. Honestly, I like Corey Davis this week. I do like Corey Davis this week. I know that the Jets have not looked good, but this is a much better matchup. They've had a really brutal schedule to start the season. So I personally like Corey Davis this week. Jonathan Taylor, what should we expect? Quentin Nelson's out. I don't know how serious was that injury. I need to look that up. Because he got hurt. Carted off the field. Oh, he got carted off the field. With an ankle injury. So he's probably going to... Is he going to be out for season? No, I really don't like... I don't like Jonathan Taylor a whole lot, but if you can get a decent trade offer for him, I still would try. But Quentin Nelson's a massive blow to me. Yeah, I would. I would make that trade. Yes, do that trade. Drop LaVisca for Sanders. I would. For Emmanuel Sanders, yes, I would. Yo, I was thinking of trading CEH for Robert Woods. Is that good? I would keep CEH personally, because I want running backs on my team. I like running backs more than receivers, so I would keep CEH. Should I pick up Dawson Knox? I mean, here's the thing with Dawson Knox. Let me double check this real quick. The stat. A tight end's really ugly, right? So, I mean, it's like whatever. But Dawson Knox, I mean, I would... If you're desperate for a tight end and you really need somebody, I guess so, just because this is a really high volume offense, passing attack, I would. But one guy I'm definitely keeping my eye on is going to be Dan Arnold. But I guess I would pick up Dawson Knox just because this offense is really good and tight end is so ugly. So, start Devin Singletary or Chuba Hubbard. I would go with Chuba. I would go, or well, Chuba. This is right. I always call him Chuba Hubba. But I would go with Hubbard this week over Singletary. I have 2 flexes. Who do I start out of 3? Mixon, Saquon, or James Robinson? Oh boy, that's tough. I really don't like... See, I like Saquon a lot this past week. This upcoming week, I don't like Saquon. I really don't like Saquon at all this upcoming week. They played New Orleans, and I really think that New Orleans is going to beat up on the Giants pretty good in this game. So personally, and I know this may sound crazy, sit Saquon for James Robinson, but honestly, I'm going to. I'm going to say I would go Joe Mixon and James Robinson this week. Do you think Cordell Patterson's production continues? I do. I do think, well, probably not at the rate that it's going, but he's definitely going to continue to be a flex play because this team sucks and they need to throw the football, and he's a guy that, you know, converted wide receiver. He can catch the football. So I do think that he has, you know, viable, he's a viable flex play every single week. Dan Arnold get traded to the Jaguars? Yes, he did. And I like that a lot because you have O'Shaughnessy is on IR. Dan Arnold is going to step in there. He'll be the tight end 1 for this offense. He's actually a pretty solid athlete, and they were O'Shaughnessy was seeing decent amount of work the first couple of games. So I would personally, Dan Arnold is a guy I'm definitely keeping my eye on if I need a tight end. If I need tight end help. Should I trade Allen Robinson, and what's his value? His value is probably not really good right now. You're probably going to have to hold on to him, but I do think he's going to bounce back. Do I trade Clyde for Mike Davis and Pittman for Najee? I mean, if you can get rid of Mike Davis and Pittman for Najee, I would do that and keep Clyde. But if you have to trade Clyde, I would do that for Najee, yeah. Yo, what's up, Ozai? Hey, Tyler, there's a rumor going around. After Big Ben retires, you'll be a Cowboys fan? No, I'll still love the Steelers. But hey, here's the thing about, you know, being a fan is that you still have fantasy football, right? You still have fantasy football. So if your team sucks, you always have, you know, fantasy football, something else to cheer for. If anything, my grandpa, who's no longer alive, RIP, but that was years ago. But he always took me to Bills games when I was little. He was a big Bills fan. He had season tickets. So if like the Steelers, and I'm from the surrounding area, like the Buffalo area. So if the Steelers ever left as an organization, I would then become a Bills fan. Because, like I said, my grandpa was a big Bills fan. I went to a bunch of games, live around the area, so I would be a Bills fan. But still love my Steelers. Should I trade Harris for DK straight up? My wide receivers are Keenan Allen and OBJ. I'm assuming that's Najee Harris. I would do that, yeah. Mixon for Keenan Allen. I would want Mixon personally. Top 3 waiver wire. Chuba Hubbard, right? Chuba Hubba. He's the number 1. For me, Emmanuel Sanders. I think he should be the second guy. And then Peyton Barber, because Peyton Barber had 26 touches. Like, 26 touches, okay? 26 touches. This team right now, the Raiders, actually look decent. They look decent. So, personally, I think those 3 guys need to be the top 3 waiver wires. These are guys that are, like, rostered in under 50% of leagues. So, that's what I'm looking at. Claimed Swift off of waivers. Should I try to trade Jonathan Taylor for Dalvin Cook and start Swift as RB2? Trade Jonathan Taylor. Like, if you're getting Dalvin Cook, I would do that. Absolutely. Swift, absolutely. Start him as every single week. But, yeah, I would do that trade. And my internet's buffering. Uh-oh. Lost connection. Okay, wait. We're back, I think. Possibly. I think, okay, we're good. We're good. I think the internet glitched out there for a second. So I don't know if, should I do Zach Moss and Will Fuller for Brandon Cooks? Yes, I would do that trade. Bam. The Michael Thompson. I have Robert Woods and CEH, and I need an RB. Who should I try to get? If you have an RB, I mean, I'm trying to go get Swift. Deandre Swift, baby. Guys, I'm 0-3 in 10-team half-point PPR. I need help. My weekly starting roster as of right now: Lamar, Mixon, Harris, CD, DK, Hawkinson, DJ Moore, Trace. I mean, that's a really good starting lineup. That's unfortunate. I think it'll get better unless it's like Damian Harris. Then I don't like that a whole lot. But if that's Najee Harris, I feel great about that. But if it's Damian Harris, then I would try to get a different RB2 personally. Try to trade one of your wide receivers for a top-tier guy. Would you trade Deontay Johnson and Damian Harris for Ayuk and Montgomery? Yeah, personally, I would. Out of all those players, I would want Montgomery the most. How the heck did you get Swift off of waivers? True. This is true. Yeah, I would receive Cook. I don't know how serious the injury is. I think he should be back this week. If he's not back this week, he'd probably be back next week, I would assume. What would you trade Derrick Henry for Tyreek Hill? I would want Derrick Henry. I want to give up Derrick Henry for Tyreek Hill now. Unless it's vice versa. Like, trade Tyreek Hill for Derrick Henry, yes. What's the most fab you'd spend on Chuba Hubbard? The most I would probably spend... Like, because here's the thing, is that McCaffrey could come back next week. I don't know if they've actually really have said how long. They said... How long did they actually say? I don't know. Like, I think they said he'd just be out a few weeks, right? And he's not going to be placed on IR. So there's a chance he could possibly come back next week. So, like, what I would spend on him, honestly, I'm okay if I don't get him, because this upcoming week, this is a tough matchup for them this upcoming week. So if I don't, like, I would spend probably maybe 20%, to be honest with you, unless you're I wouldn't spend a whole lot on Chuba this week. Chuba is Najee Harris, and I'm 0-3. Yeah, Drew, that's unfortunate, because that team is actually really solid, and that's just what happens sometimes in fantasy football. Like, what happens sometimes is, like, you unfortunately don't win, and your team's really good, and you just sometimes play better teams that have better weeks than you, obviously, and it sucks, because then you look around your league and you see that some teams are, putting up 80 points and the other teams putting up 70 points, and you're like, why the hell can I play them this week? But now you're playing against a guy that's just scored 150. Like, that's just how fantasy football goes at times, and it's so infuriating. But I think your team's really good, to be honest with you. It's really unfortunate that you haven't won more games, because this is probably what happens with your team, right? Is that one week you're going to have one guy that goes off, like Joe Mixon, and then you have Najee Harris, who doesn't play that well, and other players on your team doesn't play that well. And then the next week, the other half of your team goes off, and then the other half of your team plays bad. It's incredibly infuriating. No IR, yes. So no IR, that's good. What's the value of Josh Jacobs? It's hard to say what the value is. I think his value is trending up, though, for me personally, just because this team looks pretty good. This team actually does look pretty good. What do you think I should offer to try to get McCaffrey off of his injury? If the team has McCaffrey is pretty not doing pretty good right now, like, try to go get him 100%. I don't know what you could trade him, because, like, values so differently. Everybody values players differently, but you're probably gonna have to still give up like a borderline RB1 and a wide receiver 2 possibly. Best wide receiver, or best waiver wire for RBs and tight ends. So I mean, best pickup this week. Actually, let me go back to this one. I just got offered Diggs for Robinson and Julio. I have running backs, Barkley. I have Ridley. So are you getting? Is this what Robinson? Is this James Robinson? If it's James Robinson, I would do that. But if it's Al Robinson, I probably want to do that. Best wide receiver for running backs and tight ends. So I think the best, obviously, Chuba Hubbard, Peyton Barber, really, and then like possibly like Brandon Bolden. That's more for like deeper leagues. Those are your best waiver wire pickups this upcoming week. Really, the only guy I'm going to spend a waiver on is going to be Hubbard. And then for tight end, I'm really not going to spend a waiver wire priority, because like I've talked about, Dan Arnold just got traded to Jacksonville, and I think he's going to be viable in fantasy football. I believe his name's Tyler Conklin. Tyler Conklin, I think that's his first name. He'd be another guy that I'm looking. Dawson Knox would be another guy I'm looking at. Really, it's going to be hit or miss for the tight ends, though. What do you think I could get for Cooper and Fournette? Amari Cooper? I think something decent. for Amari Cooper. It's really hard to say what exactly. How's your fantasy teams doing, man? So actually, I looked at my records today, and I believe I am over all my fantasy leagues this past week. I think I'm 16. I think I'm 16-8 or 16-9. I think I'm 16-8 or 9. I think 16-9 right now. Like, I have a lot of teams that are 2-1, and then also a couple of teams that are 1-2. So I'm doing pretty well in fantasy. I'm not gonna lie. That's what happens when you research literally the whole off season. Like, it was a massive difference from, like, years past. I didn't put a whole lot of effort into my research, and like as the time came, like August really came, I started doing a bunch of research. But this year I've been really researching since, like, really hardly, I would say since April, probably even sooner than April, honestly. But I've been like every single day looking at it, looking at different things, theorizing and that kind of stuff. And like when you get to your draft, it makes a massive, I can't tell you, like, I've been sitting in so many drafts this year. I'm like, holy shit, what are these guys thinking? Like, so many guys are on the board right now that are really good, and I just see trash picks. So it makes a massive difference. Can you please answer my question? I might have missed your answer. Maybe. Thanks. Yeah. Let me see here. Let me see. What was the question? Okay. Struggling hard with my team, and I'm at number 2 in the waiver wire. Options are Hubbard, Moss, Beasley, Sanders, RBs, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Taylor, wide receivers. So who's the Sanders? Emmanuel Sanders, I'm assuming. Okay. So what I would do is I would try to pick up. What I would do is try to pick up the first guy I would try to get. He's probably going to go first. I would go Chuba, and then the next guy would be, for me personally, I would go with Emmanuel Sanders. I would go, those two guys would be the first 2 guys I would try to pick up. I know Zach Moss has been playing pretty well, but I think he's going to be hit or miss every single week. So those would be the first 2 guys I would try to pick up. I offered Derrick Henry and Mike Evans for McCaffrey. Do you think that's fair given the week 3 absence? Yeah, I think you're giving up Derrick Henry. I wouldn't give up Derrick Henry personally. But hey, if you want to, go for it. What's a good defense to start this week? For me, my favorite is the New Orleans Saints this week. I think New Orleans, I think Tampa Bay will be a decent start this week. Another defense that I would start would be, I mean, Buffalo's a really good start this week as well. Depends on who's available. Who could be a defense that's probably not really that available? Let me see here. I'll look at it here in a minute. Let me see. Who could possibly be a defense that should be... Gosh, my internet's not loading. For F's sakes. You starting Hot Rod or Bullock? Hot Rod. Who's Hot Rod? Aaron Rodgers? What about Cincinnati? So for me personally, I'm not gonna lie, like I don't think Cincinnati's that good. I know that they beat Pittsburgh, but I just don't like that defense a whole lot. And I guess that they're decent. Like Jacksonville's been turning the ball over, but I just don't. I like Green Bay. Okay, so these are my defenses that I would like. I would like Green Bay, the Bills this week. I do like the Bears. I would go with the Saints, and then who's the other team that I said? The Bucks and Broncos. I mean, obviously the Broncos every single week. Should I trade Rodgers and Sermon for Emmons? I would do that, yes. Amari Cooper, Mike Williams, or Brandon Cook. Only one? I'm honestly going to go with Mike Williams. What about the Titans D? I don't like the Titans D, to be honest with you. I think the Titans D, number 1, sucks. Okay, number 1 sucks. And number 2, the Jets have... I think the Jets are bad. Don't get me wrong. I think the Jets are bad. But the Jets have played Denver, one of the best defenses in the NFL. Carolina, one of the better defenses in the NFL. And the New England Patriots. That's 3 brutal matchups for that Jets offense. Now they get Tennessee, a bad defense. I don't like the Titans defense, personally. Don't like the Titans defense. Should I have the Bills defense starting for this week? Didn't know if there's a bet. No, I would keep the Bills offense. And what was that, Rodrigo? Oh, Hot Rod. Okay, Rodrigo or Bullock. Let me see. What are this game? No, I would go with ooh. Let me think about it real quick. Kicker question. Let me see. I don't get these that many times. I would go with Randy Bullock on Thursday night. I would go with him. Tampa Bay against New England. Yeah, I just don't think that. I don't like New England a whole lot, to be honest with you. Like their offense. I don't think their offense is that good. Should I entertain the trade offer? I receive Lamar Jackson and Sterling Shepard for Dak. I would receive Dak. I'm trying to react with impulse. I mean, I would personally keep Lamar, but Dak has looked good. I mean, if you want to do it, go with Dak. Like, Dak has looked really good. CMC was my best player. What do I do with he's hurt? Do I go for I would go for the Panthers backup, yes. I would go with that. Hunt or J-Rob this week? Me personally, J-Rob. Raymond, that's the dude from the who is that? The Detroit Lions, right? Isn't that their wide receiver? Did he have a good week this past week? I wouldn't personally. No problem. You're welcome. I need 4. I need to start 4. AJ Brown, Williams. I don't think AJ Brown's going to start this week, so I would just sit him. If he does play, I guess I would probably sit Woods though. I would still sit AJ Brown. Yap God. How do you feel about Emmanuel Sanders in the flex? I like Emmanuel Sanders going forward. It depends on who your other options are. Trade away Henderson and Waller for Kelsey? No, I wouldn't do that. I would keep Henderson and Waller personally. Would you take McLaurin and Hines and give up Eckler? No, I wouldn't do that. I would keep Eckler. And if you haven't already, do me a big favor. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe. Really appreciate you. If you're over on TikTok, we're live over on YouTube. Get your questions answered. Appreciate everybody being a part of the live stream. Thank you. And I guess I'll do a quick plug here. If you're over on YouTube right now, down in the description, you do betting, sports betting. Down in the description, you can go to BetUS. And if you need a new site to sign up on, and then obviously get a deposit match bonus up to 125%, it's over on BetUS. They have a really good sports book over there as well, and their casino is really sweet. So the link down below, sign up with a new betting site, play with some free money, then you win some money, take your money out. I've been pretty good with some of my player props. I said it last night, my 2 player props that I absolutely love, and it's been 2 weeks in a row now. I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit. Aaron Jones, I loved him to go over his receiving last week, and his rushing, I believe. No, Deandre Swift was the other one. Deandre Swift, Aaron Jones over the receiving, and then this past week I said Ezekiel Elliott to go over both his receiving and rushing. Did that in the first half. You love to see it. You love to see it. You know what I'm saying? You love to see it. So, play with some free money. BetUS down in the description below. I smash that like button and subscribe. Scroll up at my question. I got you. What's this one at? Brian, thoughts on picking up T.Y. Hilton off of waivers and adding him to the IR? Would have to drop Galladay, Will Fuller, or Osborne to do the move. I guess if you want to, I would drop Osborne, but I don't like Will Fuller, or I don't like T.Y. Hilton a whole lot. Like this heading into the season, I just don't like this Colts offense. They have not looked good, to be honest with you. And then they just lost their best offensive lineman. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but if you want to do it, the person I would do is drop Osborne. But personally, I would just keep what you have. Let's see, starting Cordell Patterson over JT. I would still go JT personally, but if you want to do it, hey, that's a little ballsy. You do you, but I would go JT. Should I trade Najee for CMC right now? I have a lot of good running backs. You trading Najee for CMC? You're getting CMC? I mean, if you're fine, like record-wise, I would do that. Chester Rogers, I pick up now. The guy that you want to pick up, personally, the guy that led them in targets and receptions. What was his name? Nick. I talked about him. Nick. I gotta look him up, to be honest with you. He had a weird last name. Well, he had a decent first last name, but the last part to his last name, I didn't know how to say it personally, so I refrained from saying it. Nick, what was his name? Nick Westbrook. He's the guy that you want personally, that I want right now for Tennessee. He played like all the snaps after AJ Brown went down. Nick Westbrook. That's the guy that you want from Tennessee. Renfro or Christian Kirk? Christian Kirk. I'm starting Diggs, Moore, and Mike Williams this week. It's a pretty good week for week 4. Yeah, I think that's really solid. I like that a lot. Should I trade Amari Cooper after losing my 2 weeks in a row for producing only 5 points? I mean, if you can try to trade him, I mean, I would try to trade him, but I don't think you're going to be able to for like I feel like his value has gone down a lot. So personally, I would hold on to him. I think he'll bounce back. I like this Dallas offense a lot. I think it'll be better for him as the season progresses. Trade Lamar and Tyson Williams for Chubb. Yeah, if you have Kyler as your quarterback, I would do that. Yeah. Jeez, that scared me for a second.
Disney Plus.
Dang ads. You know what I'm saying? Ads. And if you're over on TikTok, over to YouTube. It's not as busy. Get your questions answered. Well, now it's getting a little bit busy, but answering questions over on YouTube, TikTok. Hey, appreciate you guys. And let's see, keep A-Rob or get Woods. I would keep A-Rob. Thoughts on CEH? I think CEH will be good as the season progresses. Well, he'll be okay. I shouldn't say good. I think he'll be okay. No, I got that one. Don't know if he answered my question. Just got offered Diggs for Robinson and Julio. I have. What? Oh yeah. So who is the or is it Allen Robinson or is this James Robinson? So if it's Allen Robinson, personally I would just keep Diggs. But if it's James Robinson, I would do that trade. Mad. Trade Diggs, Kelsey, and Montgomery for Adams. Yes, I would do that trade. Absolutely, Chris. What does your fantasy team look like? I mean, I have like 15 fantasy teams. There's a couple that I'm not 0-3 in any of my leagues right now, which is great. But there's a couple leagues that I'm 1-2 in. But a majority of them I'm 2-1. Majority of my leagues right now. I'm honestly doing pretty well in fantasy this year. Let's see. How's this trade? CMC, Miles Sanders, A-Rob, Cordell Patterson for Brandon Cooks, Hunt. I like that trade. Yeah, I would do that trade. Kicking Kirks for or Gesicki. You think that's a good move for tight end? Kicking Cook for or Gesicki. Yeah, I mean I would want Gesicki out of those guys. Yeah. Start OBJ or Cooper. I'm still going with Amari Cooper. Is trading Julio and Cooks for Ridley fair? Yes, that's fair. Should I start JT or pick up James Robinson and start him? Pick up James Robinson and start him. I got Eckler and Clyde, Chase and Woods. Thoughts? Yes, I would do that. If you're getting Chase and Woods and Clyde, I would do that trade. Yes. It's Devs. Amari or Brandon Cooks this week? I'm still going with Amari. Jackson or Hertz? For this week, who am I going to go? Let me double check this real quick for you. Let me double check. For week 4, Jackson or Hertz? Lamar. I would honestly go with Hertz this week. I would go with Hertz. Someone offered me Cooks and Zach Moss for Robbie, Gibson, and Judy. Accept? Yeah, I would accept that. If I'm getting Gibson's side, yes, absolutely. Should I trade Cup since his value is super high or ride? No, I would ride the wave. Trade Rondell Moore for Ayuk? I would want Ayuk, yes. Should I claim AB and drop Sutton? No. No, I wouldn't do that. My team is Tyreek, Woods, Gibson, Kittle, Javonte Williams. Is it looking good for me? Any advice? It's not looking good for me. I mean, your team is pretty solid. I would try to maybe get a second wide receiver right now, but I mean, it's a decent team. Like, I think that your guys, I think Woods will bounce back at some point. I really do think, I think, obviously, Cooper Kupp's going at a crazy pace right now, and I think he's going to come back down a little bit. Don't trade Cooper Kupp, though, unless you're getting, like, Devontae Adams, which obviously you're not. So don't trade him. Keep him. But I think Woods will come back. Trade CEH for Woods? I would want CEH, personally. Should I start JT or pick up James Robinson? Pick up James Robinson regardless. I would start him, though. Do I start Pollard, Mooney, or AB this week? Me, personally, let me see. Who would I go? I would honestly go with AB this week. I think him and Brady are going to have, like, kind of this revenge game-ish. So I like that narrative there. Should I trade Najee for CMC or for Kittle? I mean, I would keep Najee. Unless you're, like, really set, then trade him for CMC, I guess. Andrews or Higbee this week? For me, I'm going to still go with Mark Andrews. Would you be looking to trade Carson for a less injury-prone guy or just roll with him? So, no, I would roll with him unless you can get, like, a really good trade offer. I have Pittman, Odell, Renfro, and T. Higgins. Pick 2. As long as he plays, T. Higgins and Odell for me. If T. Higgins doesn't play, then Pittman. I have Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Thielen, and D-Hop. What three do I start? I'm going with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Adam Thielen this week. No, I hate to say it. I would still go, okay, I'm going to bench Thielen, and I'm going to play D-Hop, but it is pretty close because this is a really tough matchup. Is Sony a legit guy to play at flex? If Darrell Henderson is out, yeah. If Darrell Henderson is out, I would play him. Is DK going to keep doing the same as he did last week, or do I trade him? No, keep him. He's going to do the same. It's going to be weeks like this. If you have Tyler Lockett and if you have DK Metcalf, unfortunately, you're going to have some weeks where, you know, one of them does really well, and then another week where the other one does really well. You just got to ride with it. This is what these guys are. They're both amazing. You keep them both. I have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. No, I got that one. David Montgomery. Should I claim Chuba Hubbard for Madison? Chuba? No, I would keep Madison because we're not sure if Dalvin Cook plays this week. Unless you really need somebody, then possibly. But I probably wouldn't drop Madison right now. I have, let me see, David Montgomery and Logan Thomas for Hawkinson and Jonathan Taylor. David Montgomery for Hawkinson and JT. No, I mean, if I'm getting Hawkinson and JT, yes, I would want that side. Trade Edmonds or Woods? If you're trading one of them, I would trade Woods. I would keep Edmonds. Is my team good? I have Dak, Keenan Allen, Godwin, Cook, Chuba, Kelsey, Mike Williams, Carson. Yeah, I think that team's really good. Your bench is solid too. Yes, I think your team's good. Edmonds, OBJ, or Henderson at flex. If Henderson plays this week, I'm playing Henderson. If not, if he doesn't play, I'm honestly going to fire up OBJ. OBJ this week. And if you haven't already, do me a big favor. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And a great plug, if you're doing some betting, okay? If you're doing some betting, be a big fan. And help out by going down in the description. Go to BetUS. If you haven't signed up for BetUS, it's a legitimate site, one of the bigger betting sites. Warren Sapp is their spokesperson. Bet $50, get $125 deposit match bonus instantly into your account, and then you win some money. Take out the money that you put in and just play with house money. Do it if you're looking for a new site to sign up for and need a deposit match. Over on BetUS, down in the description. I'm not sure all the states that you're able to use it in, so obviously you'd have to check that out. But BetUS. Thoughts on Jonathan Taylor? I think he'll be okay. Like, I don't want to say I think he'll be okay because I am a little concerned. I'm not. If Quentin Nelson didn't get hurt, I wouldn't be as concerned. But Quentin Nelson, to me, is a big blow to that offensive line. And for a guy who just got outsnapped, he got outsnapped by Nyheim Hines, it's concerning. That is concerning. Okay, but I just don't think that you're going to be able to trade him for anything for what you invested into him. Now, if you can get a decent trade by somebody who's trying to buy low, I would try to do that trade personally. Is Josh Allen going to keep performing last week, or will he return to week 1 form? I think he's going to keep returning, or he's going to be fine. But Washington's defense sucks right now. Washington's defense looks horrible. Drop Tyson Williams. I would keep Tyson Williams right now. I would keep Tyson Williams. Ridley for Julio and Cooks. Personally, I'm going to keep Calvin Ridley for me. Should I trade Chubb? I want to trade Chubb. I would keep Chubb. Did you see the falling throw, Big Ben? Yeah, I did. I saw Big Ben's terrible, man. I'm a Steelers fan, okay? I'm a Steelers fan, but I'm a realistic Steelers fan. I know that Big Ben, this whole team just doesn't look very good. Hey, this whole team doesn't look good. So, I know Big Ben's not very good. I'll gladly admit it. Start Tim Patrick or Kenny Golladay. If you have Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard out, fire up Kenny Golladay this week. Rate my team: Carr, Cook, Fournette, Jefferson, Metcalf, Fant, Amari Cooper, Broncos D. Rating it, I would say like a B+. That's pretty solid. Justin Herbert or Jalen Hertz this week? Give me Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert this week. Should I trade Carson and Madison for DJ Moore and Chase Edmonds? Yes. If I'm getting DJ Moore and Chase Edmonds, absolutely. Should I keep Claypool or look to trade him? I would keep him right now because you already have Juju and Deontay Johnson hurt. So I keep him. Do I sell high on Mike Williams? If you can get a really good trade for him, I would. But, I mean, right now he looks pretty legit. How much value does Cordell Patterson have? I want to say like a crazy amount of value, to be honest with you. Just because he's Cordell Patterson and like a lot of people aren't going to truly buy into like he's this guy. I would just keep him because I do think he's going to be like a viable flex option in PPR league. So I would just keep him. New England or Niners defense for this week. Really wouldn't want to either one of them, to be honest with you. If I had to start one, since the Niners are at home, I would go with the Niners defense. And it's a divisional game. Sometimes those games play out like pretty tough. So I would go with him. I would go with the Niners defense. DK or CD? That's really tough. I think CD is going to be a little bit more consistent week to week. But DK is going to have those really volatile weeks where he's going to put up a ton of points, but he's going to... Other weeks, he might not put up a whole lot. Is it worth holding on to Trey Sermon? I think so, just because you have everybody hurt. But I do think that if Elijah Mitchell... I want to look this up, because I need to make sure. I don't want to keep saying this stat. I'm fairly certain, but I gotta look up this stat real quick. Because to me, this is very concerning for Trey Sermon. So if you think about Trey Sermon's path to have relevance, like literally everybody had to get hurt for him to have relevance. But this past week, you really have nobody left on this offense in terms of the running back position. Yes. Trey Sermon played 41 snaps out of 70 snaps, which is pretty good. But Kyle Juszczyk outsnapped him. Specifically in the passing game, he outsnapped him. He outsnapped Trey Sermon and had 5 carries to his 10. Or no, not 5 carries. I'm sorry. So that's a little concerning to me. I think if Elijah Mitchell comes back, he's definitely going to slide into the RB1 for this offense again. Is it worth it to keep Elijah Mitchell? Hey, perfect timing. Yes, I think it absolutely is, because I think that if Elijah Mitchell comes back, I think he's going to start over Trey Sermon. Because I don't think Trey Sermon did anything this past weekend to really show that he's the guy. So I think he's going to start over Trey Sermon, and I think absolutely keep him. My RBs are Rojo, McCaffrey, Montgomery. Would you trade Deontay Johnson for Galladay and Damian Harris in standard? Yeah, I would do that. You need some help at the running back position. I think Damian Harris is going to have a really bad week again, though, personally. But better days will be ahead for him. Mike Davis and T. Higgins for Kittle, Aaron Jones, and Galladay. I mean, if you're getting Kittle and Aaron Jones... Oh, that's Kelsey, too. Kelsey, Mike Davis, and T. Higgins for Kittle, Aaron Jones, and Galladay. I would do that trade. I would want Aaron Jones' side. Absolutely. Justin Herbert or Jalen Hertz? I got that one, right? Justin Herbert. Yes. So I'm caught up. If you're not already over at YouTube, we're over live on YouTube right now. Come over here. You get your questions answered. It's not as busy. Appreciate everybody hanging out. I'm going to stay live here for a few more moments, and then I'm going to hop off. So appreciate everybody. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, follow over on TikTok, answering everybody's questions. And I guess I'll do a quick plug once again. Super chats are available if your questions aren't getting answered. Also, if you love what I do, you love being a part of the Spire Sports team, down there should be a join button. Consider joining, and you could also get multiple things unlocked. There's different tiers as coming onto the Spire Sports live stream. Once a week or once a month, you can pick what day. Also collab on videos, that kind of stuff, get positional rankings, all that kind of fun stuff. So join the Aspire Sports Show team. It's down below, like next to, like near the like button, I'm pretty sure. So, hey, let's get to it. Should I trade Diggs for Hunt and Andrews? Stephon Diggs. Okay, so are you getting Mark Andrews? Like, if you need tight end help, I would do that. But if you're like, I would rather have Diggs. But if you need the tight end help, I mean, do that trade. I think that's a decent, like, it's an okay trade. I don't feel great about it. But Mark Andrews is a top tier tight end. Kareem Hunt or Keenan Allen? Keenan Allen. Jackson or Hertz? For this upcoming week, honestly, I like Jalen Hertz this week. Should I start Zach Moss? It depends on your other options. I've got running backs J-Rob, Hubbard, and Mitchell as my RB3. What should I look to trade? I would try to trade Hubbard right now, just because his value is really high right now. So I would try to trade him. Should I start Noah Fant versus the Ravens or Robert Tonyan versus the Steelers? Noah Fant, personally. Panthers or Rams defense, or should I try to pick up the Saints? I would pick up the Saints defense. I Yeah, I would play the Saints defense, honestly, this week. I was going to say, but do you drop... If you had to drop one of them, I mean, I would drop... Who is that? That's tough. I would drop the Rams defense to pick up them. The Rams play in a really tough division with a lot of solid teams. No. Do I trade Zeke or stay? No. Keep Zeke. He'll be fine. Penn State will make it to the... You think Penn State will make it? They're having a really good season so far. Probably not. But they have looked pretty decent. But I don't think that they'll make to the playoffs, to be honest with you. Antonio Brown or Galladay rest of the season. Right now, Galladay, because I don't know how long Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton are going to be out for it, to be honest with you. Is Pitts a viable option at tight end 1? Yes, he is. I know it has been the greatest, but better days will come. This offense is going to have to throw the ball a lot. Start Noah or Andrews. For me, Andrews. I'm getting Mark Andrews and Hunt. I still got Odell, Chase, Julio, and AB as my wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, if... that's tough because I probably would keep Diggs, but if you really need help at tight end, I mean, go for it. And you're getting Hunt, who's solid. Carson or Taylor this weekend, and Knox or Pitts. I would go Pitts and Carson. Would you trade Ridley for Jefferson? No, I'd keep Calvin Ridley right now. Is Jeff Wilson worth a stash? Yes. So if you don't have anybody on your IR spot right now, like if you're planning on dropping somebody, yes, absolutely. I talked about this like I think 2 weeks ago. But what I would do is pick up Jeff Wilson if he's still on the waivers. If there's two guys I would do this for. Okay, so if you have a guy that you want to drop him. Two guys I would try to pick up this week. Rashad Bateman, put him on your IR spot. I don't think he comes back this week. I think he comes back next week. I know he's able to come back this week, but I think they're going to give him a week of practice and then have him come back next week. So Rashad Bateman, Jeff Wilson. I would rather have Jeff Wilson right now than Rashad Bateman, but those are two guys that if they aren't on anybody's rosters, drop a guy, pick him up this week, stash him on your IR spot. They should have value during the season. Do I start Darrell Henderson or Amari Cooper at flex? Me personally, as long as Darrell Henderson's playing, I'm going to play him. Should I pick up Royce Freeman if CMC is out this week? I would pick up Royce Freeman, yeah. Like, if you're in a deeper league, like in a 10-team league, like I think that you have other options there. But like once you get to 12-team, 14-team leagues, like yes, I do think Royce Freeman, I would pick him up this week as well. I think that Chuba Hubbard is obviously going to be the guy there. But if anything happens to Chuba, now you have, Royce Freeman, actually his workout metrics aren't like bad. He's actually a decent athlete. It just hasn't really lived up to his potential. Do I start Mike Williams over Calvin Ridley? Oh, that's tough. That is tough. That's brutal. That is really tough. I hate to say sit Calvin Ridley, but I mean, Mike Williams is just impossible to sit right now. He really is impossible to sit. I would honestly go with Mike Williams. Yes. I think he's just so hard to sit right now. You can't sit Mike Williams. What two do I play this weekend? Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett, CeeDee Lamb. For me personally, I would go with Mike Williams and CeeDee Lamb this weekend. Amari Cooper or Brandon Cooks? Amari Cooper for me. Should I trade Amari Cooper? I would keep Amari Cooper. Personally. Oh, good. Didn't miss it. What was that? Didn't miss what? The putt? The putt's still lining up. He's still lining up the putt. Would you start Tyler Boyd over Marvin Jones this weekend? No, I would start Marvin Jones personally. Diggs, Amari Cooper, Rondell Moore, Sterling Shepard, Mooney. Which three? Diggs, Amari Cooper, and I don't know if Sterling Shepard's going to play. If he plays, I would go him, but if he doesn't, I would go Darnell Mooney this week. Trade Cooper for CeeDee? I would want CeeDee, yes. I start Cordell Patterson over Tyson or Mitchell right now. If Mitchell plays this week, I would play Mitchell this upcoming week. If Mitchell plays. But if he doesn't play, Cordell Patterson over Tyson Williams. I hate, like, Tyson Williams should be playing more, me personally. Do you think it's a turning point for James Robinson, or is this a once in a while? No. I think it's I've been very high on James Robinson over the past week or so because there's some things to really like about James Robinson. Number one, he's playing a lot of the stats in this backfield. Number two, like last week, prior to this week, he was running the third most routes at the running back position. So he's running routes. He's much better player than Carlos Hyde. I think this team will, like, the offense will get better as the season progresses. Will it be, like, really good? No. But it'll be better, and he's going to be a guy that I would have on my roster 100%. If you didn't buy low, you missed your opportunity. James Robinson should be a solid. I would say, like, he's more of an RB2 this season than an RB1, but he's a solid RB2 week to week. What are your thoughts on Debo versus Ayuk? Me personally, it still looks like it's Debo, but I do think Ayuk is going to be viable. Certainly. I think Ayuk is a good football player. Progressively is getting better here. Also, I think he's a little hurt, so I like Ayuk. What about stashing Ty? Me personally, I don't really like. I'd rather have these other guys. I just don't like Ty. Like, Ty's older. This offense does not look good. They just lost their best offensive lineman. I just don't like this Colts offense, to be honest with you. So if you want to stash, if you're in a deeper league, I mean, go ahead and stash Ty, but I'd much rather just stash the other guys. And if I don't have Ty, like, I'm okay with that. 6-man league, I got Kupp, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Ridley. Who do I start? Out of how many? Like, I'm definitely starting Kupp right now and Mike Williams. You have to keep going, these two guys. They're red hot. Keep going until they fall off. I would go those two guys, and then personally I would go Keenan Allen this week. Or I would go Calvin Ridley, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm frustrated. Tyson is the best back they have. I agree with that. Do you think that Nagy is the true issue in Chicago as part of the reason for... I think so. I think he's... Well, it showed last year is that when he gave up the play calling duties, they actually were good in, like, those last 6 games. Now, the competition that they were playing against wasn't the best, but when he gave up the play calling duties, they were better. And isn't he calling plays again? I thought he was calling plays to start the season. Maybe he wasn't, but I think he sucks, to be honest with you. I think he's just a much better offense coordinator than a head coach, personally. That's what I think. I'm getting Chuba Hubbard. Was that Chuba Hubbard for Dynasty trade worth it? Yeah, if you're getting Hubbard, I would do that trade. Let's see here. I know you're a Steelers fan. Do you think that Deontay Johnson comes back today? To be honest with you, I don't know. I know I am a Steelers fan, but I really don't know, to be honest with you. We'll just have to wait and see what happens here. This week, would you start Gibson or Robinson at RB? I'm more optimistic with Robinson, but curious on your take. So, personally, I would go with Gibson. I know it has been great with Gibson, but I do think that this is a game that should be competitive. So, like, in games that are going to be competitive, I like Gibson. But games that they're definitely going to lose, like this past weekend, I did not expect them to beat Buffalo. Like, I really didn't like Gibson that much. But this week against the Atlanta Falcons, I do like Gibson this week, personally. But I love James Robinson, too. So, if you want to go James Robinson, go with him. That's certainly A-okay. Would you trade Woods? Or no, you think Woods would be best flex tier wide receiver to go after in a trade? Other suggestions? Yeah, I do. I think Robert Woods is a solid guy to try to trade. Allen Robinson is another one. Still, I think A.J. Brown, like a lot of people are obviously worrying about A.J. Brown. And if they drafted A.J. Brown, chances are their team isn't looking very good right now. So A.J. Brown would be another guy that I would try to target right now. And one last guy I'm going to say, try to trade for it. I'm going to have a video coming out later tonight on this. Michael Carter, okay? I want Michael Carter right now. And I know this Jets offense, I know you might laugh and say, what, the Jets, okay? But here's the thing with the Jets, okay? The Jets, honestly, have had really tough matchups. They've had really tough matchups the first 3 weeks to start the season. And Michael Carter, to me, I think he's the best player in this backfield. And I think it's only a matter of time until he starts to take it over a little bit. The Jets will be a little bit better as the season progresses. But he's a guy that's probably even going to get dropped this upcoming weekend. I would still have sitting on my bench. In deeper leagues. I mean, do we start a healthy A.J. Brown? It depends on who your other options are. Been trying to trade Allen since I picked up Williams and no one wants him. Keep trying. Somebody will bite. Is anyone on the Dolphins worth starting with Tua out? Me personally, I do think that Jalen Waddle startable in PPR leagues. Also Myles Gaskin. I think these guys are Myles Gaskin not so much, but really two guys: Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, and we got Ozai, hey, with the one, basically $2. I'm gonna just say $2. $1.99, $2 donation. Appreciate you, brother. You the man, Tyler. No, you the man. You the man for hanging out. Appreciate you. Cooper or CD? For me, I'm going CD. I appreciate you. He's Ozai. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. I'm sorry, okay? But always a guy that's in chat. Appreciate you always hanging out, being a part of the live stream. Appreciate everybody being a part of the live stream. You all, make my day. Being a part of the live stream. It means a lot to just sit here and watch my guy not putting. He's been lining up this putt for about an hour now. He hasn't putted yet. Just been answering questions. But hey, I like to answer questions over this. You think that Michael Carter more of a stash than Kenny Gainwell? To me personally, I think so, because here's my reasoning behind Michael Carter. Okay, Michael Carter he's a decent athlete. All right, he's a pretty decent athlete. I just think it's a matter of time till he takes over. Like I said, I think he's a better football player than Ty Johnson. I think he's a much better football player at this point in his career than Tevin Coleman. So I think that this Jets offense will get better as the season progresses. They've had brutal matchups through the first 3 weeks. Yes, they still have to play Buffalo. They'll still have to play New England again. But there will be better days ahead for this offense. And me personally, I think that they're still not going to be the greatest, but I think there's a chance that he just ends up taking over this backfield. Not 100%, but more like 60-40. Trade, like with Gainwell, I don't think he'll ever take over that backfield. Miles Sanders is a beast. And even if Miles Sanders gets hurt, Kenny Gainwell will never see majority of the snaps in that backfield. You'll probably have Boston Scott come, and it'll just be like a full-blown committee. Rodgers versus Steelers or Heineke versus the Falcons? Rodgers versus the Steelers. He's going to annihilate that defense. They're so trash. I'm a Steelers fan. The Steelers are going to get obliterated. They're going to get obliterated. He's developing a back problem. Oh, yeah. My golfer? Yeah, he is. He's just been leaning over for like a solid hour. He just keeps moving his feet back and forth. Can you help me? I'm in a 6-man league, and I have Tom Brady and Mahomes. I don't know who to start. I would go with Tom Brady in this game. I think Tom Brady's gonna be a little mad. He's gonna be a little pissed off. He's gonna come back firing on all cylinders. I'm starting all of my Tampa Bay players this week. Fire him up. I got Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1, Godwin, wide receiver 2, and A.J. Brown in the flex. I got Hollywood, Marvin Jones, and Ruggs on my bench. Change anything? So I don't think A.J. Brown plays this week, and the guy that I would play over him would be Marvin Jones. So, and you're not going to have the luxury of actually knowing because Marvin Jones plays Thursday night, so I would just play Marvin Jones regardless, personally. Waddle or Beasley? I would go with Beasley just because he's on the better offense, and he's seeing a bunch of work as well, so I would go with Beasley. And if you haven't already, do me a big favor, smash that like button. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. If you're over on TikTok, we're live over at YouTube at Aspire Sports Show. It's in my link tree. Just click my profile, go to the link tree. It'll take you over to the YouTube page. And I guess since I don't have any more questions at the moment on YouTube, if you haven't already, you do some bettings. Go check out BetUS down in the description. You can get a deposit match bonus when you deposit $50. It's 125% bonus. And you just get to play with free money. If you need another site to sign up for, it's a site. They have Warren Sapp as their spokesperson right now. It's a really good site. Their casino is pretty legit as well. So sign up over at BetUS. Get a deposit match bonus, win some money, take out the money that you put in, play with the house money. That's what you got to do, That's what it's all about when it comes to gambling. Is Evan Ingram worth picking up? I think so right now because you have Sterling Shepard get hurt, and then you also have Darius Slayton get hurt. So I think so, but I mean, Evan Ingram, tight end's brutal. So do I trade away A.J. Brown or Tyreek? I would try to trade it personally. I mean, if you're a team that needs a win right now, A.J. Brown, because he's not going to be playing. I don't think he'll play this week. So, but his value's low, so it's tough. Thoughts on Tyson Williams? I like Tyson Williams, but my gosh, this team doesn't like Tyson Williams, I guess. I like Tyson Williams. I think he should be playing a low. Like this team, I don't know. He should be playing more, in my opinion. You think Mike Williams will keep being consistent this year? Hey, for as much as I like to pat myself on the back for, Deandre Swift, for I don't know who else, mainly Deandre Swift, but there's been other guys this season. I'll gladly say I was totally wrong about Mike Williams, and Mike Williams has shown signs of a breakout season. He just never has fully put like the yards and touchdowns together. This year it looks like he's putting them together with Justin Herbert, so I don't think it's a fluke. I think he'll keep producing at this level. Not at this level. He'll probably come down a little bit, but a top 20 wide receiver this year, yeah. And a possible league winner, yeah. You think Jamar Chase will have a good week? I think he will, but that's a player that I would personally try to sell high on, Jamar Chase. He has 11 receptions right now and 4 touchdowns. That's not going to continue. And he had 2 touchdowns this past week with T. Higgins out. He'd personally be a guy that I would try to sell high on right now. Do I drop or keep Tyson Williams? It depends on who you're going to drop, but I would keep him, personally. Trade Kareem Hunt for Keenan Allen. I would want Keenan Allen. Jones, Carson, Lockett in my flex. Kareem Hunt on my bench. Change anything? No, Van Thomas. I would keep that as is. Ozai. We got Jamar Chase, Darrell Henderson, or James Robinson, full point PPR. Personally, I'm going to go with James Robinson out of those guys. Well, I guess if Darrell Henderson, okay, no, you're not going to have the chance. I would go James Robinson now that I'm thinking about it, because you're not going to know if Darrell Henderson's going to play this week or not by the time the Thursday night game rolls around. So personally, I would go with James Robinson. I have Curtis Samuel in my IR spot. He's supposed to come back this week. Do you think he'll be the number 2 wide receiver there? Yes, I do think he will be. What about Kittle, Aaron Jones, and Galladay for Kelsey, Mike Davis, and CeeDee? Personally, I'd rather keep Aaron Jones and Kittle, in my opinion. I'd rather have that side. My starting running backs are Sanders and Montgomery. Am I in trouble? Do I reach for a better back? No, me personally, I was a huge fan of Miles Sanders heading into the season. I just think he's a superb talent, but he just doesn't get the work that he should get. What did he like end with 2 carries yesterday, and one of them was like a 20-some yard gain? Like, it makes no sense with what they do with Miles Sanders, in my opinion. And that's why I didn't like Miles Sanders a whole lot heading into the season. Like, what the hell are you doing? The dude is a freak athletically. He's a freak. He's so explosive. Like, get him the damn ball, but they just don't. So, I would try to get a better running back personally, but it's going to be hard to trade one of those guys right now. 12 team right now, my flex plays are Antonio Brown, Trey Sermon, Jamal Williams, and Hunter Renfrow. Should I go with any of these guys this week or look at someone else on waivers? I would fire up AB this week personally. By the way, love your content, man. Hey, love you tuning in and being a part of the Aspire Sports team, Nolan. Thank you. Should I trade Deandre Swift for Keenan Allen? I already have Najee, Eckler, and Gibson. No, absolutely not. If anybody, I would trade Gibson. I would trade Gibson. Deandre Swift is RB number 3 in PPR leagues right now. RB3. Do not trade Swift. Mahomes or Josh Allen this week? Oh boy, that's tough. I would still go with Patrick Mahomes, but no, I would go with Josh Allen personally against Houston. Yeah, fire up Josh Allen. Trade away Jones for Nick Chubb. Yes, I would get Nick Chubb there. Miles. If Henderson is out, do I risk starting Pollard in the RB2 spot? Who are the other options, Van Thomas? Oh, you have Kareem Hunt. I would go Kareem Hunt personally if he's out, unless this is a different team. I traded away Saquon for Diggs before week 3, 1 point PPR. Did I make a mistake? No, I don't think so. I think Diggs should bounce back. He should be okay. Trade away Julio Jones for Nick Chubb. Yes, Miles, I would do that. Start. Is Hubbard worth a 5th round or 5th priority claim? Yes, I would do that. Donnie, yes, I would. Start Mike Williams over Amari. I would do that. Yes. Thanks, bro. Thank you. Should I drop Robbie Anderson and Christian Kirk to pick up Jarvis Landry? Robbie Anderson. Herbert or Rodgers this week? Give me Herbert. Love Herbert this week. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate you being a part of the Aspire Sports team. Watching the stream. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Helps grow the content. Allows me to do this every single day. So thank you guys. If you were to pick right now, Who is going to win the Super Bowl? Who do you got? Who do I have to win the Super Bowl? Okay. Who I think wins the Super Bowl? I mean, I just don't see right now a more complete team. I thought that Tampa Bay was the most complete team in the NFL. The Los Angeles Rams just blew out Tampa Bay. And I thought Tampa Bay was the most complete team. They've had some injuries now on the defensive side of the ball. So really it's going to come down to who's healthier. But man, oh man, do the Rams look good right now. And I mean, they were a team I liked heading into the season as more of a, like, if you're betting on a team, the odds were much better for the Rams than, say, like Tampa Bay, obviously. So I really like the Rams heading into the season. Right now, they look like the best team in football, in my opinion. I got Rams for super. Yep, I agree with that 100%. As long as they can stay healthy, that's going to be the biggest key. It comes down to health, and if they can't stay healthy, well, you know, it is what it is. Do I trade away Allen and DJ Moore for Kamara? I have Ridley, bought low, and Jefferson. Yeah, I would do that for Kamara. If you're getting Kamara, yeah. My other option is Hubbard. Oh, so go. No, I would start Hubbard, honestly, over Tony Pollard, Van Thomas. You like DK this week? Yes, I do like DK this week. Should I start Peterson or Edmonds as my RB2? Patterson. I would go Edmonds. I got Rams from it. Yes, I agree with that. Is Ayuk worth a start right now after this game, or do we wait another week? It depends on your other options. I would personally wait another week. But if you need him this week as like a flex play, I would go ahead and start him. He played on majority of the snaps this past week. He almost outsnapped Debo Samuel. So he's getting the snaps. The production will start to come. I would maybe give it one more week, but if you have to start him this week, fire him up. 1 point PPR, Melvin Gordon or Kareem Hunt. See, this is so frustrating, okay? Because I didn't like Kareem Hunt this past weekend, but every week prior to that I liked him, especially against Houston. He burned me, and then I'm like, okay, I can't. I'm not gonna start him again. I'm not gonna tell people to play him. And then of course he has a really good game. Me personally, who am I playing though? I'm gonna go with Kareem Hunt in a full point PPR. Should I start Knox, Hooper, or Schultz? This upcoming week, what I would do, that's tough because it's just like pick your poison, and hopefully one of them hits. I know that Schultz had a really good game last night, and you shouldn't react to that. Like, it shouldn't be like a overreaction, but still, I would go with Schultz because I just think that he's going to have a role in this offense. You have Amari Cooper, who's a little bit banged up right now, so give me Dalton Schultz, and I honestly think he's a solid tight end too. Hot take. Matthew Stafford finishes QB1 and Najee finishes RB3. Ooh, that's a hot take. Najee certainly can if he's seeing 19 targets a game. My gosh, that is ridiculous. 19 targets? That is insane. Stafford, or no, start Herbert or Hertz. This upcoming week, honestly, give me Herbert. Give me Herbie. How do you feel about Odell moving forward? It's really close between Herbert and Hertz, to be honest with you. I'm going to go back and forth on this all week. So I really need to sit down and do my projections in my rankings this week. This is very early, so make sure you double check, come back, ask the questions again. But right now, I'm really feeling this game on Monday night. I like this game a lot between the Chargers and Raiders. I think this game has a lot of shootout potential. So I like that game. How do you feel about Odell moving forward? I love Odell moving forward. Other options are Ayuk, would be Miles Sanders or Corey Davis. Personally, I would go with Corey Davis out of I would probably still go with I would go with Miles Sanders out of all of them. But the other option would be Corey Davis. I have a feeling Ridley is going to torch the football team's defense. Hey, he certainly can, because that defense looks horrible right now. That defense does not look good right now. Cheap DFS sleeper stack this weekend. I haven't looked at DFS yet, to be honest with you. I will later in the week. Ask me that question. I'll probably look at, today I'm going to do my rankings, start to get my rankings all like completely not finalized, but close to finalized. I'm going to look at DFS today as well. Trade targets, made a trade target video. So all that's what I'm going to be doing today. And I'm going to hop off here in a minute. So if I haven't answered your fantasy football question, you know, please go ahead. Like, I'll be live. I'm probably going to go live later tonight. So tune back in later tonight. I'm going to go live. I'll answer your guys' questions. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're over on TikTok, hit that follow button. Get notified when I go live. I'm going to be doing just a TikTok-only live stream a little bit later as well. For YouTube, I'll be going later tonight. I'll be going live also on TikTok for that as well. But I appreciate everybody hanging out, being a part of the live stream. Appreciate everybody hanging out. It's been fun. I'll check you guys later tonight. Make sure you hit that follow button, subscribe. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Talk to you guys later. Peace. Peace.